He's chasing a bloody kangaroo through snake-infested bush, and the idea that he had was to strap a GoPro to its head just to see what it was like for a kangaroo to jump. You know, like, who does that shit? And he's on this dirt track, Cape York, on a fucking Harley Davidson motorbike. He's got the motorbike set on cruise control on a dirt road at 100 kilometres an hour. Fell off it about 3 or 4 times. He's got his feet dangling over the handlebars, and he's leaning back onto the rear of the bike. Apparently he's gone into snake-infested bush, and like there's crocodiles everywhere, and he's paddling around in the ocean and all that sort of shit, you know, like. And the other thing that I heard he did, he jumped off a fucking waterfall from about 100 metres, and he's trying to jump on a crocodile. He's in the swimming pool filming himself fucking swimming. I mean, what sort of an idiot would do that sort of shit? You know, they'll follow you bloody 150 metres inland just to get a piece of your leg or something. He blew the bloody Harley up, and he's going to have to ring some bloke with a chopper to fly 300 miles from somewhere just to pick the fucking idiot up. Why would you do that sort of shit? I can't believe it. You know, heat exhaustion, probably used all his fucking water to tip over his fucking head. Honestly, who are we working for? What sort of shit's that? Who does that? Hey Danny, how you going?
I don't know why you're laughing, mate. You should have gone to better acting school. Okay, let's do that again.
Or he actually pulls a ripcord. Oh, how you going, Danny?
You got something to say, Steve?
Just have a bit of a chat with Michelle.
Oh yeah, why don't we have a little chat in my office? Let's
okay.
Go. This is the 2018 Road King Special, and I have put 16,000 kilometres, or roughly about 10,000 miles on the clock in a really short period of time. So, if you watched my... parrots. The cockatoos, and they're really noisy. It's been quiet all day. You start filming, cockatoos start chirping. Shut up! This is the 2018 Road King Special, and I've just done 16,000 kilometres on it, travelling sort of halfway around Australia. I bought it with 2,000 kilometres on it. I spent 14 days on it, day after day after day, with a 1-day break in between. The longest time I spent on it was 14 hours straight, with small breaks in between, in temperatures at times at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 43 degrees Celsius. Is that right? I've got no idea. Anyway, hot, pretty hot. So I'm just going to talk about the bike first, because I'm going to sort of talk about two things. I'm going to talk about the bike, but I'm also going to intertwine the 14-day trip I did from leaving Geelong, going all the way to nearly the tip of Australia, 280 kilometres from the very, very point, back down, and then I went across the Gulf of Carpentaria, then I went up to Katherine, and then to Darwin, and then I ended my trip there. I did it all on the bike. This bike, on the trip that I did, was totally stock. Someone said, "Did you adjust the tyre pressure in the sand?" No. And I just want to clear something up, which I find really, really funny. There was no road crew and there was no cameraman. I rode alone. I filmed everything on, I had 3 GoPros. I had my GH5 camera, which I'm filming on now, and I had my Mavic 2 drone, DJI Mavic 2 drone. The difference between the standard Road King and the Special is that this is all sort of blacked out. It's more of a dark, sinister looking bike. You know, it's a cool, in my opinion, it's a cool, you know, street looking bike. This model has got the much bigger wheels on. I don't know what inch they are. They're 21 or 22 inches. This has got the brand new Milwaukee 8 motor in it. I don't know much about mechanics, so I'm not going to pretend to know. The cool thing about this, like other, I guess, baggers, it's got or the newer ones. It's got cruise control. Cruise control is awesome. So the bike was totally standard, but I'll tell you one thing I did change. And I'll tell you this, if you're gonna tour, you must do this. It's the best $1,000 I spent. And what I did was I changed the headlight. So as you can see by the footage, this is called a Daymaker headlight. I got rid of the stock crap Harley one, and this is a full LED light, and it gives you a good beam. Not that I like riding at night, but when I was caught out riding at night, I did have reasonably good visibility, so really important to do that. That was the only change I made on the bike. Also, the pipes that are on it are just slip-on pipes, so they're reasonably stock. There's a bit of a note, but again, if you're touring, you soon get sick of... I've had bikes with 2-into-1 systems, and, you know, I didn't want this bike to be super loud because it just does your head in after a while. I just want to talk about comfortability. For the first 2 or 3 days, now, when people talk about is a bike comfortable or not, the reality is you've got to set the bike up to suit your needs. So, me being a short ass, when I bought this bike, a lady had owned it and she was quite short, so she actually put these bars on, and these bars pull around a bit. So for me, the first 2 or 3 days, I actually strained my back, but after my body got used to it, this bike was super, super comfortable. Now people say, how did your ass go for you know, day 7, day 8, day 9? I was fine. But again, you know, when you're doing, you know, 200 Ks before you have a break, or 250 before you have a break, I'm doing exercises on the bike, you know, I'm doing things like this, and you know, stretching legs and all that sort of stuff you do so you can keep pressing on. So the bike, in my opinion, is super comfortable. And what I love about the Road King is it's not like the street glides where you have the full fairing. There's still a bit of wind and stuff in your face. The windscreen takes all the pressure off your chest. It creates that nice little sort of air pocket. But you can take the windscreen off and you've got a bike that can cruise around town, and it's going to look pretty cool, in my opinion. If I was going to rate the ride quality, I would give highway cruising, I would give it probably an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. The fuel capacity, I thought it was a 20 litre tank. It's actually a 22 litre tank. I would get about 440 kilometres, but probably the light would come on at about 350 to 370. Generally, I would try and put in 98% fuel. If I couldn't find that, I'd put in 95. People have asked, did I need to put in oil? I actually did put in oil, and on one of my vlogs, I said that I put in about 1 litre. That was false. I put in about 200 mils. And in fact, when I put it in, it was still... You know, it was still in the safe zone. You know, it was spot on still, but I just topped it up just a little bit because it was just a slightly under, right in the middle. So I just put 200 mils in just to be safe. I spent over 2,000 Ks on roads, jarring, numbing, just stupid stuff, hour after hour. And I actually thought at one point the bike was going to shake apart. I thought that shit's going to start flying off it. And do you know what? Not one single thing came off the bike. That's a lie. One thing came off, and that was the windscreen. And guess who put that on? I put that on. Was there any mechanical issues with the bike? 0. In fact, this is the toolkit. That there, it's a Harley toolkit. I took that with me. I don't know why, because I don't know how to use it. I'm not really mechanically minded. Also on the ride, I took a puncture repair kit. They really were the only 2 safety things I took, was the toolkit and a puncture repair kit. Once I got back from the ride, I took it into Geelong Harley Davidson, where I probably bought half a dozen bikes off those guys. And Colin serviced the bike again. He serviced it before it went, and he serviced it again straight after. He checked the bike out, you know, he looked at it, and there was nothing wrong with it mechanically, and the oil was still pretty good. So, but we did an oil change. We also changed the air filter, of course, as you could imagine. That would have been pretty dusty. Do you see many bikes looking this dirty?
Only when they've come back from Cape York.
Oh yeah, so you have people. Do you think people that take their Harleys to Cape York's are legends or fucking madmen? You've done it.
That's my 61 panhead when it come back from Cape York.
Good on you. I've got new tyres on this now. You'll probably notice they're white wall tyres. The tyres that were on it were pretty cactus. A few times there in the heat, I did lose my shit and started doing burnouts. There was no one around, and I was slightly probably going a little bit insane. I've owned a number of Harleys. I think as I've gotten older, I'm 46 years old, I've been sort of the V-Rod owner, and I've customised some sporties and I've made stuff go really fast. I really love this bike because it is just a cruiser and it's super, super comfortable. So I love the look of this bike. As soon as I saw this Road King Special, I knew I was going to get one. You know, I would probably give it a 9.5, 9 out of 10. I don't even know what the other half I would use for. It hasn't missed a beat. I felt safe on it, and it was super dependable and reliable. These people that say Harleys break down, I've been riding Harleys for 20 years. I've never had a Harley breakdown yet. Maybe I've been lucky, but I've always found them super reliable. And I just want to say, I don't work for Harley. I'm not saying that. I don't get any plugs or I don't even get a free t-shirt or a sticker. I get nothing, but I just want to tell you the truth that for me, Harley Davidsons have always been super reliable. Okay, let's talk about the trip. I left Geelong where I live and I travelled from Geelong to Melbourne, Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to Brisbane, Brisbane to Townsville, Townsville to Cairns, Cairns through to Cohen, I think, and then up to Weipa, which is about 280 kilometres from the top. I came back down, I went that way across the Gulf of Carpentaria. I went down to Katherine and then went up to Darwin, and I did that in 14 days, and it was just over about 10,500 kilometres. Firstly, I just want to say a couple of things. I just want to thank everybody for all the comments. I had thousands of comments and thousands of likes. I'm a fairly new YouTuber, though I've been doing it for 2.5 years, and I take it really seriously. But I just have to clear a few things up in regards to some of the comments, which were absolute bullshit. I didn't have any cameraman, and there was certainly no road crew. I left alone. I went alone. I filmed everything alone. You would see a drone shot. I would get off the bike, I'd run down the street, I'd set the drone up, I'd put the remote down, I'd get back on the bike, and then I would ride through the shot, and that would sometimes be it in 40 degree heat or 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Quite brutal at times to film, but I had, as I said, I had 3 GoPros. I had a couple set up on the bike. I had one in front of me, and I've got the GH5, which I'm filming on now, which is a great camera. And I filmed with the Mavic 2, which is a fairly new drone. It's the one with the Hasselblad camera. When did I decide to do this and how much preparation? I decided to do it about a week before I left. I spoke to my business partner. I said, listen, are you okay if I take off for 2 or 3 weeks? I said, I'm struggling a bit at the moment. I said to my wife, I said, are you okay? She said, absolutely, go for it. So I probably had a week's planning. The planning was just to go to Weipa, and I didn't really know what the roads would be like, and I didn't take much stuff with me. I took about $4,000 cash, and I took a credit card. I didn't book accommodation in advance. I booked it maybe the day before or on the day, so quite risky. What I wanted was an adventure. I don't understand if you want an adventure, so you take an adventure bike and everything's perfect. You've got a sat phone and you've got every bit of safety gear you want. And you've got the right tyres and you've got the right footwear and you're wearing the right clothing and you've got the right helmet and you can travel a lot quicker than 20 kilometres an hour and it's all perfect and it's easy and you're comfortable. I didn't want to be comfortable. I live in a corporate world where it's mental gymnastics. It's stressful what I do. I'm a real estate agent. We're in the middle of opening up. I'm the managing director of our 5 offices. I work in a very aggressive world of real estate. It's very brutal. So I wanted physical pain. I wanted to be burnt. I wanted to be put at risk. I wanted to take risks. I wanted a big fucking challenge. I didn't want to know what was ahead of me. I wanted to hit it head on. When I saw it, I wanted to say, can I overcome that? I will not die today! It's out of a movie, The Beach, that beach scene. It goes something like that. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to, I wanted to have obstacles and I wanted to be able to overcome them. And some riders, not all riders are like this, but for me, and I'm not going to go into it, but suffering from depression, like a lot of men, particularly in their 40s that have been through messy divorces and kids, just the mess that a divorce brings. I take medication for depression, an SSRI, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, just a common antidepressant. But for me, being on a motorbike is the best antidepressant of all. And I knew that to day after day after day after day just to ride, for me, is therapy. When you ride, because when I ride, fucking shut up, mate. But it's like a wildlife sanctuary. I need to have a gun here. Riding a bike for me is a form of meditation because you're riding, you're concentrating, you're scanning the road, you're looking ahead, you're looking at the side, you're looking for escape routes, you're looking at your speed, you're watching your speed, you're very aware that if you come off, you're probably going to die or be seriously hurt. So for me, riding a bike is heightened concentration. Therefore, the itty bitty shitty committee, that 6 inches that just, the negativity, the past, just, it's back there. because I'm right in the now. So for me, riding a bike, I'm living in the right now, which is awesome. So when I rode along those roads, you know, up to Cairns and all that, it was really quite easy. You know, I did some big days, 1100 Ks, 1200 Ks. Out of the whole trip, apart from falling off the bike in the sand a number of times, I nearly had one accident, and that was on the way to Brisbane. It was my fault. It was a double lane, and I was about to go around a car, and I head checked, but I didn't do a proper head check. And there was a car sitting right in my blind spot. And luckily I was trained as a bike rider. Every movement I do is fairly slow on the road, because if there is a car there, you know, you don't want to be weaving in and out. And I moved across. I was about a metre from hitting the car at about, you know, doing 110 kilometres an hour. It would have probably been pretty bad. The reason that happened is because I was fatigued. Fatigued is you can be super aware, but your reflexes slow down and you don't even know it. So you might be riding for 8 or 9 hours and you still feel okay. You might have stopped and had an energy drink, but you don't realise that you're making small mistakes. And on a motorbike, the small mistakes can kill you. A couple of things I want to clear up. The sunburn. When I was heading through Cohen, when I hit the dirt for the first time, I hit it at about 30 Ks an hour, and I reckon I had a moment there where I thought, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? I am on the wrong bike. Straight away, the bike was sliding all over the place. There was thick sand. Some people have said you need to ride quickly through the sand. You know, I'm riding a bike that weighs over 400 kilograms. Show me how you ride quickly. I'd like to see someone post a vlog where you're riding a bike like this quickly through sand. I don't know if you can do it, because what would happen is the sand would grab you and it would rip you to a side. Maybe going faster, that would have, you know, that may have not happened, I don't know. And what would happen is you would have a piece of dirt and you wouldn't know how long it would be. You wouldn't know, would it be 20 kilometres or would it be 60 kilometres long or 100 kilometres long? I just knew that when I first hit that Cohen track, when I left Lakeland, it was about 280 kilometres. And I knew that I was doing 15 kilometres an hour for about 2 hours. And I thought, if I keep going at this speed, I'm going to get there in 30 hours. I'll be dead. You know, all of that thinking, you know, then I saw the guy on the push bike. I thought, oh, Jesus. All of that thinking was going through my head, and I'm thinking, you know, what are you doing? You've sort of, this is a bit silly. My biggest fear, I didn't care about crashing the bike or running out of water or running out of petrol, because I was sort of on a main road, even though it was isolated, there was traffic. My biggest fear was not getting a puncture, but was tearing a tyre. So what I'm saying is hitting a rock on a certain angle and just ripping it, because that way I wouldn't have been able to repair it, and that would have been game over. I would have had to get the bike picked up. So, you know, day after day after day after day, I didn't really share it on camera. You know, particularly going through the Gulf of Carpentaria, there was one road there, I don't remember the name, I don't even know where the hell I was half the time, but it was really bad, and it went on for hour after hour, and I did think that I was going to be stranded on the road. That was my biggest fear the whole time. I didn't always have plenty of water. A couple of times there I got low. But you have to understand, although I was isolated, it's a main road. Although it's desolate and it's dusty and there's no real bitumen, every 2 hours in some part, it'd probably be a maximum of 2 to 3 hours, I would always see a car or something a day. I was never really worried that I was gonna, you know, die of hunger or dehydrate. That really didn't enter my mind a lot. It was hot, and people said to me, you know, you were wasting your water. Well, if you don't know anything, I'm going to teach you something right now. The hottest part of the body, or to cool it down, is the brain. So if you pour a bit of water on your head, it would instantly cool me down. If you've ever ridden in heat with a helmet on for a long time, you can become a little bit delirious. And I say this hand on heart, there's a bit of footage which I've filmed there which I actually don't remember taking, and that's the truth. That's a bit weird. When I got to Cohen, when I got to the very point, in hindsight I regret not being better prepared and not going all the way to the very, very tip, but I would have needed a sleeping bag and some sort of tent. And I just didn't prepare for that. I think you can ride any bike to Cape York. I truly do. It depends on your level of riding. Someone that's shy and timid and only takes their Harley Davidson out on a Sunday and takes it to, you know, the annual toy run and is scared of rain ain't going to do what I did. But I just want to say this, categorically, you can take a Harley Davidson to Cape York. You've just got to make sure you're not in the wet season, and, you know, if you want to have it a little bit easier, change the tyres. For me, I wanted pain. I wanted that. Ted, I'm trying to film. So for me, I wanted that I just didn't want it easy. I wanted to escape reality. I wanted to be like Bear Grylls, you know. I just wanted to get into it, and of that like that, and then looking for the sand and picking your line. So again, for me, it wasn't about being crazy. People go, "Oh, you're crazy to do that," or "You've got big balls." It was about just escaping reality of my life, you know, at that point. I just want to say this, I travelled really, really lightly. I took 2 pairs of pants, 1 pair of shoes, underwear, toiletries. One of my panniers was for all my camera gear. The other pannier was for food and drinks. And the backpack was for my clothes, so quite simple. People, you know, I tell you what, I saw other people on the track. It was ridiculous, the amount of stuff they took. You know, one guy had a spare tyre on the back of his motorbike. He's going to Cape York the same as me. You know, he had everything. He was suited up. He looked like I thought he was an Eskimo on a motorbike. And you know what? I thought, and you know, here it is. Here I am putting along at 20 k's an hour, and going slow. And they flew past at 90 kilometres an hour, 100 k's an hour, and I saw things like a baby emu, and I saw the lizards, and I saw a snake, and you know, I was able to smell everything. I wasn't scared of crashing. I was just, you know, getting burnt to death and dying of dehydration. But apart from that, you know, I was having a good time. For me, it was never, ever, ever about the destination. It was about the journey and about the adventure. It would be about what would I encounter along the way and could I overcome it. That's what it was about. Well, the most magical time for me on the bike was that time from about 6 a.m. in the morning till about 10. That morning ride, the air was beautiful. It was quiet. Everything was soft, there was no traffic, and just to be out there on that bitumen or in the dirt, it was just magical. I don't have the words, I don't have the vocabulary to tell you the feeling that gave me, being totally alone. How much water I used to take? Probably when I was up towards Coe and getting up where it was hot and there was quite some big distances, I probably have something between 4 and 8 litres on me. And you would see I'd always have sort of 2 litres at the front windscreen. And I found that front windscreen a great little spot to put water. Though I think in future what I would do differently is I would freeze water in the hotels. Looking back in hindsight, I would freeze the water because the water would get hot fairly quickly. So I was drinking hot water sometimes. That wasn't great. There's a reason why I didn't ride the bike back from Darwin. I saw a mate in Darwin and I was contemplative about should I just ride straight down the Red Centre and then to Adelaide and then from Adelaide to Melbourne. Probably would have taken me 3 days, pushing it, 3 to 4 days. I don't know if any other bike riders feel this feeling, but I felt that I'd been lucky to do what I did without any incidents, no accidents, and feeling pretty good. And I just felt that I was pushing the envelope to ride home. You know, I decided to leave the bike there. Ended up getting it freighted back later on. To be totally honest, at times it was like a torment. It was a torture on the track. Not once did I think about turning around. I contemplated it, but not seriously. What did it cost? I took $4,000, but if I'm going to be honest, I lost $2,000 in cans at the casino. That's an overshare. Petrol, I think I spent around I did 10,000 Ks, so $400 a tank, about 30, I can't work it out, $700-800 Australian on petrol. Accommodation, let's average it out over 14 nights, say 150, so there's say $2,000, so there's say $3,000. So I reckon you can do the trip from where I left all the way I did it for about 4,000 Australian dollars. What's that, 3,000 US? I don't know. Listen, I didn't rough it. I mean, I stayed in hotels and motels, and I had a shower every night and I had a good bed. So, you know, you could do it a lot more cheaper. I think when people do these trips, I mean, everyone's going to do it their way. I mean, I did it my way, and because I live my life, I'm not living your life. But I'm not really a planner. I'm a doer, and I just jump in and do things. I make a decision and I go and do it. So, and I made the decision to do this trip, and that's why I did it. And I'm sort of looking for the next adventure. I don't know where I'll go next, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be somewhere pretty cool.